my craft room. That wasn't a ghost you just heard. It was actually me counting very quietly under my breath. It's just I noticed that YouTube, when it picks up these videos, doesn't actually start straight away. So I'm trying to work out whether it's it listens for some noise or a bit of a delay or something. So I thought I'd try that very soft speaking up front just to see whether it picks it up and then starts the video when it's supposed to start the video. But anyway, all good. Oh, hang on. Just to see whether it picks it up. That's my volume. I can tell my volume's okay. Oh, turn that down. Can't stand the sound of my own voice. Oh. Anyway, all good. Thanks for joining me today in the craft room. I didn't start with my usual welcome, did I? That's put me right off. Anyway, my name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in southern Tasmania, if you haven't heard that a million times. Okay, today I'm going to be crafting with and I swore I was going to give this one a bit of a break because I told somebody I was all daisied out, but here we are back again, the Cheerful Daisies bundle, particularly the dies we're using today. And I'm using the sort of star or sort of wavy die out of the Patchwork dies. I know I worked with the other one here a couple of weeks ago, so we're going to use the other die and see what effect we can get. Okay, so a couple of things before we get started. Today's the 29th of June, so tomorrow is the last day on our joining offer, so I won't bother putting the graphic up. I've brought it up a million times already. The increased value of the joining kit till close of business or midnight tomorrow night. It's up from, I can't remember what the old number was. Anyway, $283 worth of product of your choice for $169 with free delivery. So that's an absolutely awesome sale. You can join just as a hobby demonstrator. You can buy just for yourself, and you can buy just for yourself, yes, and you can join just for the starter deal, even if you don't want to buy anything else. You just find that starter deal too good to resist, then go for it. And give me a call if you would like any help either making that decision or help with the sign-up process. Okay, also tomorrow is the last day for our 15% off Designer Series paper sale, so that's another one to jump in and grab if you would like to. And tomorrow, I suppose, or Monday, whatever the day is, Saturday, the 1st of the month is the first day for ordering my Fun Fold class. So this is my Fun Fold class for July. If you're in the VIP club, this is the one you're going to get a week or so into July. We have, it started as a celebrating gatefold cards, but an old favourite snuck in there. So there's 2 gatefold cards. This is one of them. This was unusual to me. I had never seen this one. It's a tucked away gatefold. The lady called it on Pinterest. It basically looks a bit like that on sort of giving. Then these little gates, I suppose that's what they are. They've tucked in behind there and they come out and to the side. So from that angle, it looks like one of the flying seagull, flying finches cards, but it opens up like that. So that's a really cool little fold there. So that's one of the cards in your Fun Fold. I've used the stars from the Beautiful Balloons bundle. So that's also a pretty special bundle for next month. And the paper from the Delightfully Eclectic. Then we have a drop-down gatefold card, which sort of sits up like this. So it has the little gate that folds down like that, or the drawbridge, I suppose, and then the gates close. And I haven't got it here, but there's a little belly band that goes with that one as well. And this is the one that snuck in by popular demand. This also uses the dies from the Beautiful Balloons. It's a bookbinding card, and a special friend requested that one this time, so it sort of broke up the gate theme a bit. But anyway, so that's the third one. Australian customers only, of course, $26 for the month, or you can sign up for the VIP club and save when you pay 6 months in advance. Anyway, that's enough self-promotion. If you want to pop onto my Facebook page, all the current deals are there. So let's get crafting before you all nod off to sleep. Okay, so this is the card we're going to be making. I wanted to layer up. These are the daisies from the bundle, and I've put 2 layers on before, but this time I wanted to use all 3 layers of the dies just to get that extra texture in there, and it's really worked out well. And I've given them a wee bit of colour there just with my blending brush and some ink. So I didn't want the big bulky sort of flower centre that they've actually given you in the die in the stamp set. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. And we've got that Patchwork Pieces die in the background there. So, and there are so many dimensionals. Julianne's turned a new leaf and she's going to have dimension build up left, right and centre. You won't believe it. Anyway, so I've got my normal size, excuse that crash, that was everything falling out of my caddy. My normal size card base, which is 8 1/4 by 5 1/2, so that's the size there. And I'm going to do the background again in Lemon Lolly. So I've got some Lemon Lolly pieces here. So I'm going to run the die through the Lemon Lolly, and I'm going to show you the easiest way that I found to get those pieces glued down. I don't know if you watched the video a few weeks ago. We did this one, and this one actually keeps the pieces joined. You run it through the cut and emboss machine, and the pieces are still joined in the middle with a very little tag of paper that doesn't break off. So that's easy. That one, it sort of stays intact. This one, the pieces just all go separately. So yeah, it's a matter of putting them back together like a jigsaw puzzle. Anyway, I'll grab my cut and emboss machine. Just bear with me, and I'll actually pop this through and show you. Got the heater on. I just put it on then, and it's absolutely freezing in this room. I reckon my toes and fingers must be blue. Absolutely freezing. I forgot to pop the heater on earlier. I should have popped it on before I came in. Anyway, okay, so this is, I'm going to just cut this with our lemon. Oh, sorry about that. That was, that wasn't too good, Julianne. Okay, so I'm going to cut this with our out of the Lemon Lolly. So just on there, pop it on. Get the lovely stitch to these pieces, which is really, really nice. And there they are. Chuck that out. Okay, so before I move anything away, I'm going to actually take 2 of these pieces and I'm going to pop them through an embossing folder before I start assembling. So I'm going to use the stars or flowers or whatever you want to call them embossing folder from the basic embossing folder pack, which is on one of our online exclusives. It's a pack of 3, which is really good value for embossing folders, and they're all nice. There's this star one, then there's a dotty one, and then there's a one that looks like just sort of cross hashes, which is really good as well. That's one of my favourites. So anyway, I'm going to take 2 pieces to pop through the embossing folder. I'm going to take this one, and I've changed it slightly from the original card, which is disaster waiting to happen, Julianne. So this one and this one I'm going to pop through the embossing folder. So I'll pop these down just to give a little bit of interest to those waves. Okay, so there's my embossing thing. There's the folder. I probably should bring that up a bit. You can't see much happening there, can I? Trouble is then I'll be too close when we come back together. So just bear with me while I emboss this. I want to make sure that it goes upways. So I want it to emboss that way. That's it. Just want to make sure that the little embossing pieces, the pattern sits up rather than pointing. I want to make little hills rather than little valleys. Let's just put it that way with the embossing folder. So I'll pop that through. And that's just going to emboss 2 portions of our little patchwork. Let's just move that out of the way without any crash bangs. Okay, now back. Okay, so to put these together, the first time I did this, and I'll show you the disaster, or the sort of disaster, and because I was just mucking around, today you turn it over. This was the first one I did, and I just glued them straight to the card base. Didn't get them central, didn't get them lined up properly, and yeah, not too good. So that was my first attempt, but obviously I got better with the second one. So yeah, so I'll show you how I did that. Get another piece of cardstock. I'm going to use Lemon Lolly as well, just in case there's gaps between them. We don't want them to show up another colour. Well, there shouldn't be gaps, but just in case. The size is not particularly important. It just needs to be slightly bigger than the end result, because we're going to trim it down. So then what we can do is grab the pieces, and I'm going to start from the top corner. I'm going to line up the side and the top and the left hand side with the actual die, with the actual patchwork pieces, and so that way I can line them up on that edge and that edge, and then I'm going to just trim off any excess, and everything will be straight and everything will be level. That's the plan anyway. So as I say, as you do when we're doing jigsaw puzzles, often I'm starting from the corners, or at least one corner, and we'll work our way. So I'm just doing that. And the good thing with this as well is that if it's on a sturdy piece of cardstock, I can pop it up on dimensionals, which is the new me, Dimension Lady. So this is our next one. I'm going to glue that in. Sharp corners like this, always make sure you've got glue right down into the corner, just so it doesn't lift off. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's too much there for a start, but just make sure it goes all the way into that corner. So which here. So again, I can line it up at the top because it's lined up on the top of and on the side, so I know I've got them lined up properly. There we are. See how we're going there? We're sort of building it up. What's next? She says this one, I think. Yep, this one. Yep, it's this one. So lovely swirls there. Lining it up there, and that's at the top. That's good. Yeah. So building it up nicely. Nicely. There we are. What's after that? I'm reminding myself as I go. It's the pieces. This one's next. So then what I'm going to do is grab my guillotine or my trimmer or whatever and line up those edges and just cut off the excess. You can see that's sort of a nice contrast now between the plain and the embossed, and then the plain again. It's really nice. And this one, and then just the last little bit there. You've got to get this one right because it's got nothing but pointy edges, pointy edges everywhere. Got to pop this one through the embossing folder too, I suppose, but you're not really going to see much of it, so it would have been a bit pointless. And there we are. That's our background. Isn't that nice? She says just pushing that down. There you go. So I'm going to trim excess off the top of the side and the bottom, and we'll see how we go. Okay, so I'll grab I'll try my guillotine. Sometimes my guillotines let me down if they're a bit mucky. I'll give that a bit of a clean off. Okay, so lining up on the edge there, top and bottom. Is that about right? Yep. Perfect. First time perfect. I love it. And then this one. There we are. So that's our background, nice and clean and straight, and nothing like my first attempt. So I suggest that is a good way of doing these dies. The first one, the other die seems to be easier to handle because it all stays together in one piece, but this one definitely needs to be set up on a piece of cardstock to make it easier. Anyway, so I'll bring in my card base now, and I'm going to pop this here and let the dimensionals begin. So I'm going to use dimensionals. Here we go. So let's go for it. If anyone's not watching, who hadn't watched before when I'd had my, we were discussing my dimension use and how I didn't really previously like using dimensionals on more than one layer because it just seemed to be too excessive and wasteful because I'm a bit frugal when it comes to dimensionals. But anyway, so I went to a Creativity Now event a couple of weekends ago now, or last weekend. It seems to have gone so quick. Last weekend, and the demonstrators there, it was a demonstrator-only event, but the demonstrations they did, the people used dimensionals like they were going out of fashion. They were just popping them, everything on dimensionals and multiple layers and building these things up, which we wondered about because we all realised that the postage system in America really leans towards, flat, anything too high sort of costs a fair bit of money to send. Well, that was our understanding here in Australia. And but there were dimensionals going under layers and then layers on top and then layers on top. It was crazy. So anyway, so I've decided to go all out on the dimensionals now. So there we are. So that's our card base decorated a wee bit. So we're going to bring in the flowers now. So I've used the dies, and I'm going to use all 3 layers of these flowers. As I said before, I've used 2 layers before, but I'm going to go all out now and use the 3 layers that are in the die set. So I've basically used every die from the die set here, I think, just about, and we're using a couple of the leaves as well. So what I'm going to do is, this one here is all 3 leaves stuck together. I'm actually just going to separate them out because I want to clump them differently. I'm going to cut them apart. Oh, my heat is starting to warm up, thankfully. I can feel it on my leg. I just cut them apart, even off those little taggy edges. There's one. Bit exciting. I think Stephen just had his last ever official meeting for work. I think he's counting down now. He's doing lots and lots of lasts. I think he marked his last exam paper. He's attended his last meeting. I think this week he'll go in, or next week he'll go in and actually clean out his office. Yeah, so we'll see how he goes. He's not committing to anything as far as doing anything for a first. He just wants to relax and take stock and see where he is. I've got a couple of things that I've made a little list for him, but anyway, he'll get to them. Maybe not on the first day. There we are. So that's this one. So you can tell we've got three parts to each daisy. So I'm just going to layer those up. So it's a matter of working out which way they go up. It's not too hard when you get your eye in. Pop a bit of glue on those petals. Stephen only came to mind because I can hear him in the background. He must be unpacking the dishwasher. The meeting must be finished. I wonder if they made a big fuss of him. Hope so. He deserves it. Okay, so that one goes just on there. Now I'm going to have to be really careful because working with glue and white cardstock, I do tend to get grubby marks on my white. I always use a little eraser or pencil eraser to get them off, but it's easier if they just don't get there in the first place. So just be careful. Tiny bit of glue. It's my excessive glue use that causes the problem. And this one's really the star of the show because it adds that extra texture and to the design. It's really nice. And to be honest, I probably would have just left it at that. I think that's really pretty. Just get the focus there. Can you get focus there? Yeah, anyway, you can see what it looks like. Anyway, there we are. So that's the big one. I might just let that dry for a second. Let's do the other two. So that's this one and then this one. Let's weed that out. Yeah, which way does that go there? I've lined them up, maybe. Big news coming next month in July. We'll start advertising our stamp camp. Jan Casey and I don't know if Jan's on. Jan Casey and I are teaming up to create 10 cards using the Beautiful Balloons bundle, and we'll pop the videos up during the or do some live crafting during the day on Saturday, the 12th of August is the day. And yes, you can craft along. We'll give you PDFs and video links, and the video and the Facebook group. We'll all craft along on the day, which would be really. Or you can just watch on the day and craft your cards later separately if you want. But we're going to have prizes. We're going to have games. It should be a great day. So watch out for that. Soon, next month, being advertised. Oh, I've got a hair there that just wants to stay, and I don't want it to. Yeah, that one goes. Where do you go? Rotate it a bit. That way. Oh, why can't I get you? You go. That way. This one. Yep, that goes this way. Oh. Okay. Okay, so that's daisy number 2. Cute. And daisy number 3. Meanwhile, my fingers are getting stickier and stickier and stickier. That's why that little hair won't go. Stuck to me. And that's this one. I'll grab my embossing buddy in a minute. That'll take the stickiness away. And just a little highlight one just there. Okay, so that's number 3. Now I'm just going to wipe off my hands and use my embossing buddy to take the stickiness away, and then we'll continue. Now, I quite like those daisies just as they are, but I thought they needed a little bit of just colour in their centres, and I didn't want to go with the big sort of clunky centres that were in the stamp set. So I thought I would just grab my blending brush and my crushed curry ink and just give them a hint of colour. Just get that away there. There we are. Sticky free. Okay, so now let's grab my little blending brush and my crushed curry. We've got the crushed curry because it's a slightly darker version of the lemon lolly. I wonder if I should go just the lemon lolly. Let's try that. Then you can compare the pair and you guys can tell me what you prefer. Okay, so this is lemon lolly instead of crushed curry. So I've just got it on my blending brush, just starting in the middle and just obviously darker in the middle and then just little bits on the outside. So there we are, just the slightest hint of colour, and it is only slight. I might make it a bit darker. I think that's why the crushed curry was good, because it was a little bit darker. But I'll keep on with the lemon lolly. There we are. Yeah, I think I like that. Crushed curry was good too, but it's quite dark. Lemon lolly's a sort of a lighter version. Okay, so we've got our 3 little daisies. We're going to bring in our cardigan now. Cardigan, not cardigan. I'm wearing a jumper, not a cardigan. Oh dear. Okay, so we're going to pop those on the card down here at the bottom, or sort of the bottom-ish corner. Just like that. Okay. So I'm going to glue the 2 little ones, and then I'm going to pop the larger one on some dimensionals, because, you know, that's how I roll now. So we'll just glue these. Just make sure I get the right place. And we'll bring in the dimensionals. Okay. One bad side about being a born-again dimensional user is I've got these little pieces everywhere. And weirdly, the RoboVac, my favourite child RoboVac, won't pick them up. There must be something about them. They're skinny or shiny, or they grab the floor or something. There must be something weird about them, because the RoboVac just glides over them like they don't exist. So I have to get the actual vacuum cleaner out. That's just not on. Okay, how do you like those? I quite like that with the lemon lolly. It's sort of, yeah, as opposed to the darkness of the crushed curry. Tell me which one you prefer. Crushed curry has its place, but this is quite nice. Okay, a little bit of foliage. As I say, I think I'm using just about every stamp from every die from the dies today. So I'm just going to pop some glue on the back of this. Is a sort of like a very fern leafy type arrangement. pop him in and under there. Now he's taken the rubbish out. What's going on? He must be trialing his retirement. But yeah, he's done the dishwasher now, the rubbish. Maybe we had a fight this morning. Maybe he's trying to make up. So this is another one of those little ferny things. I'm actually just going to use, somebody said to me the other day saying gonna annoyed them, so I'm trying not to say it. And anyway, I'm going to use that little piece up here, and I'm going to use this little piece down at the bottom. So just a bit of glue, pop him up in there. Okay. That's special, isn't it? That's really special. Okay, so sentiment. No ribbon. Is Deb watching? No ribbon to worry about, Deb. We could put a ribbon. There's a nice lemon lolly ribbon that would go cute with that, but I think there's enough happening there. Going to grab my garden green. These little bits of foliage are garden green. I should probably say that before I start. This is the sentiment box from the bundle, so we're going to use that one. And I'm going to use Wishing You the Brightest Birthday. If hopefully I remembered to put it back. Yes, I did. So from the stamp set, Wishing You the Brightest Birthday. Now it takes up pretty much all of the box, the sentiment box, this particular sentiment, but I want to sort of hide a little edge of it away behind that daisy leaf petal. So I'm going to bring it over as much as I can to the right-hand side. Not a lot of wiggle room there, but you can bring it over a wee bit, and that is so crooked. Oh well, I'll survive. Wishing You the Brightest Birthday didn't mean I was actually, had to be a straight birthday. So I'm going to bring that in as well. Over to the right-hand side. I just want us to sneak it in under there. Yep, that's about right. Okay, so I'm going to put that on dimensionals as well because that's the new me. There we are. And this tiny little skerrick of fern leaf is going to go just with some glue. Have that popping in up there. Just sort of resting on that sentiment box a wee bit. So just a tiny bit of glue to secure that. There we are. What do you think? I like that, and I love that background there. I mean, that's just a highlight of itself, isn't it? I love that, and I'm really liking that done with the lemon lolly as well. Okay, bling. Need some bling. Got some bling here somewhere. I'm sure I do. At least I did used to have some. Where'd it go? Where are you, bling? Oh, here it is. Okay, so I'm just going to use our iridescent rhinestones. Just really, really versatile, these rhinestones, and they tend to take, I think I've mentioned before, they take the colour. They tend to take the colour of the cardstock you use them on, which is really good. So if you haven't got rhinestones or bling in a particular colour you want, you just pop it on the cardstock and it of adopts it. It's like a chameleon. There we are. Okay, there we are, all blinged up. So that is really pretty. I love that one. It's really, really turned out nicely, and I'm happy with that. So yeah, so that's our patchwork pieces in our lemon lolly cardstock with our Cheerful Daisy dies with the 3 layers from the dies, with a little bit of a lemon lolly inside, and our garden green foliage. So yeah, pretty much, yeah, might be the prettiest card I've made for a long time. So I'm quite happy with that. So probably worth waiting a couple of days after my usual midweek crafting. I worked all day. What did I do? I worked in the morning yesterday, and then I went up to Mum's, and she was making jam. Well, she was actually making jam, cooking a fruitcake, and making a slice all at the same time, like with 3 arms. She needed like 3 arms going everywhere. And then, so, you know, one thing was in the oven, the other thing was in the blender, and the other thing was on the stove bubbling. So it was like, yeah, so she needed help. So I stirred the jam and till it set and stuff like that for her. And yeah, so she was keeping busy. Mum's keeping very, 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 very busy, as you can imagine. So anyway, it's all good. So anyway, yes, so I didn't get a chance to go live because I was making jam with Mum. Anyway, so there we are. I hope you like those. Yeah, definitely worth keeping in the stash. That little, those little dies anyway. They're really, really nice. So thanks for joining me. Watch out for the Funfold class day after tomorrow. That's one starts. Watch out for our stamp camp. We're going to start advertising that next month as well. And remember that there's a couple of great deals that end tomorrow. So the Join Up, the Starter Kit Plus deal, and the 15% off selected designer series paper deal ends tomorrow as well. But anyway, thanks for joining me. It's been great to have you all with me, and I will see you all again probably over the weekend.